So Aquaman, I really enjoyed a lot of the action sequences. Some of it looked amazing, and then there were those other moments where it was heavily CG, and you know, I just had to get over that because that's what this movie is gotta be if you're gonna have giant crabs fighting sea urchin and seahorses under the sea. It was basically like when you go to Red Lobster and you order the sampler plate and it's got like everything on there and you're like, where do I begin? That's kind of what you got under the sea, a whole CGI slugfest.
I had a lot of fun with this movie, but there are a lot of things that I was kind of like, certain parts that took me out of the movie a little bit, and I was like, oh, that kind of doesn't go there. But one thing that really stood out to me, as you guys all know, that I really love music when it comes to scores, to movies and stuff, and sometimes that can make or break a movie for me. And I really, really liked the music in this movie. I thought that there are certain things that happened with the music that kind of reminded me of Tron. And I love the Tron soundtrack. So, and then the visuals, like when they are at Atlantis and then when they're swimming and everything, like it was magical.
Aquatron, for sure.
One thing that I really loved, and I say this with absolutely no shame, most of the reason why I went to go see this was because of Jason Momoa. I'm not ashamed to admit it. Building off of that, I did enjoy the cast. Patrick Wilson's character, I'm still not sure how I feel about that because I've never really seen him as a villain type, and I'm not so sure I'm entirely convinced on that. Another thing that I really, really enjoyed was the costuming. Costumes are a big thing for me. Absolutely loved them, and his outfit at the end was absolutely spectacular, and you'll just have to watch it in order to know what I'm talking about.
Well, you know me. I like DC, and I'm very critical or not critical of my DC movies. Thus far, I've enjoyed movies such as Batman vs. Superman or the Justice League, where others may not have liked it. That said, Aquaman. I felt like this movie had no identity. I felt like it was all over the place. Was I in an adventure movie? Was I in an action movie? Was I in a comedy? Was I in a romance movie? I didn't know where it was. Interesting that you bring up the music, Vanessa. I felt confused with the music. It was Tron, but then it was also the theme song to Neverending Story. It had some hip hop in it.
It was beautiful.
It was all over the place. I felt like it didn't have its own identity. I felt like this movie didn't know what type of movie it wanted to be.
I side with Travis on that when it comes to the music. There are two moments in the film that I really like the music, and it's when they're in Mara's vehicle under the sea. Those were the only two moments. The rest of it just had me kind of turning my head going, what? So with Jenna, I do highly agree. Jason Momoa is really the main reason why I wanted to see it, because of the fun that he emanated when it came to this role. When we saw him at Phoenix Comic-Con years ago, the man was just giddy that he was going to get to play this role, and it shows through the movie. He is definitely a delight as Aquaman. As for the rest of the movie, I'd say, yes, action set pieces aside, it's fun, it's entertaining, it is cheesy. Very cheesy. The dialogue's cheesy. A lot of the moments that take place in this movie are very cheesy. So for that, because I can't take it like as a serious superhero movie, more as like, we're going to go in for some whimsical fun. And I got entertained, but at the same time, I kind of zoned out quite a few times because I'm just like, that's kind of weird. Why is Aquaman's dad trying to hold open the shutters of his lighthouse when there's a storm, when it's a storm shutter, and they're supposed to close and protect your windows? Right in the first 5 seconds of the movie, you'll see it. But there are moments in there I'm just like, wait, what? Why? But I agree with you on the whole Patrick Wilson villain. Hard Candy, he is an amazing dark villain. This one, he needs to be that comic book villain, and I felt like I didn't get it from Patrick Wilson until like the final 10 minutes of the movie when the whole war's going down.
I'll defend his character.
Sure.
Because in the comic books, he is that good guy, bad guy kind of thing, and then later on he does overthrow his brother, and big wars break out, but so he does have that good in him, but he also has that evil in him, so I can see where you played that.
And I really liked how they did kind of play on that, you know, the whole like brothers, they're two sides of the same coin sort of thing. I love it whenever any sort of movie takes two characters and portrays them like that. Again, I just wanted to see more of that from Patrick Wilson throughout the film, as opposed to just the end, like you mentioned.
Right.
So.
I would kind of go back to when you guys were saying that this movie didn't have an identity. I do agree to a certain extent at that. Like when there are certain things that happen in this movie and then it kind of goes back to something else, you're kind of like, but this part hasn't finished yet. Why are you going back to this? Like, I felt like maybe they could have been too, like, separated them both and move one of them to a sequel or a different movie. I feel like there were certain times where they could have just hold him off a little longer.
Black Manta.
Yeah, Black Manta a little bit longer than what they showed him in this movie for the next movie.
Yeah, kind of built his character up.
Yeah.
Wasn't there. I don't get me wrong. I am very critical of this movie, but I did enjoy it. I probably will see it again because I need to judge it again. I did like there's certain camera maneuvers or angles that were very fantastic. Certain POV spots that were really cool to see.
The shifts in focus, there's a moment where the camera is straight and then it goes on its side and then it goes back and switches around. I did really like those moments. They are jarring and quick, but at the same time it fit the action. There was only maybe a couple tracking shots. I was hoping for some more, but we did get one in that trailer, and then we got one other one towards the beginning of the movie. So those moments definitely hyped up the action set pieces for me, and I did enjoy it. Not all of it, but when they used it correctly during fight scenes, it was pretty badass. So, score, if you had to judge it now, you want to judge it when you watch it again, but if you had to judge it now, what would you give it out of 5?
Starting with me this time, huh?
Yeah.
As of right now, before I see it, I reserve the right to maybe change my opinion later on.
We all do.
As of right now, I'm going to say it's a 3, maybe a 3.5.
3.5. So 3.25?
Sure, why not? Round
Break even, there you go.
I think I'm going to give it a little bit of a 3.89 because of the music.
Okay, you really like the music.
And the action sequences were pretty cool at times.
Right.
I would probably say about, a 3.75, something like that. Again, Jason Momoa, delightful. Delightful as all hell. Not ashamed to admit it.
I didn't get that same feeling from Jason Momoa. I just really thought he was badass. But I would say a 3.0 for me for Aquaman. So you guys, what did you think of Aquaman? If you saw it, let us know in the comments below. If you haven't seen it, check it out, or why you're not going to check it out. Tell us down below. You can also like and subscribe.
And do the thing on our Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, start up.
All the social networking gin joints, they are keeping the party, fuel the party, keep the party going on our Patreon, gets us where we need to go. Thank you, Jenna. Thank you, Travis, for joining us again. And we've got another movie this week to watch. We got Bumblebee tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that review. So thank you guys so much, and as always,
now it's time to say goodbye.
This party is over. Bye.
Why do they need high heels underwater?